Hey, yo, it's your boys, and welcome back to another episode of the MacBroz Show. Hey, yeah, right. It's your boys, and welcome back to another episode of the MacBroz Show. This ain't a podcast, this a movie you should binge it. Josh and Darius going Mac mode, better listen. Best friends, but them bullets doing long distance. Pulling up with heavy metal, put you on a hit list. I know you missed this, they all in attendance. Trying to stack bands and inspire the children. I said stop playing with them, but y'all didn't listen to MacBroz. They back on a mission.
Welcome to the MacBroz Show, episode 86. It's your boy D's Gaines. I will be hosting tonight as my cohort is enjoying family time during the spring break time. So we'll have an interesting topic for tonight. Something I've definitely been wanting to talk to you guys about. As you guys can see, the topic is the reality of solo training. So there's some hard truths in there. There's some reality checks for those that are not new to shooting, but maybe their space isn't conducive to the type of shooting that they would really want to aspire to get to. So we can talk about that. There's some things I want to talk about as far as going in with the game plan, kind of what my go-to strategy is, depending on what I have fallen short on, especially from a competition aspect. So yeah, we'll definitely talk about that. That is what the show will be about today. But before we get into that, Jazz, I want to do a couple of announcements, specifically on GunCon. Just as a gentle reminder, you can get your GunCon tickets on sale March 18th. You can use code JW5, and that'll save you some money if you are interested in going to GunCon. GunCon is going to be in Ohio. So for those, hey Dusky, what's going on? For those that are local in Ohio that don't have to buy plane tickets, you could save yourself some money. For those that are out of state, you can still save yourself some money. Again, using code JW5 for GunCon if you go to guncon.com. All right. So that leads us right into the next segment. If my partner in crime was here, he would say this is D's Gaines' favorite part of the segment. I like this piece specifically for fun facts because I bring some stuff to you guys you might not have thought about, or you're just like, man, this is something I use on a day-to-day basis. So for fun fact for episode 86, I have... Did you know that the cruise control in your vehicle today was invented by a blind engineer? So that is your fun fact for today. When you're using that cruise control, just think about who invented it. A blind engineer invented the cruise control, which kind of makes sense, right? Kind of set the car on cruise and you just ride it out. So yeah, that's your fun fact for this evening. This one's car related. We'll get back into the gun stuff maybe next week. How the hell I have no idea. I need to do some research on that. I need to know when this occurred, how this occurred, and not that I know why it occurred. It makes sense, right? If I can't see, then I can set the car on cruise. Now we have Teslas that drive themselves and things like that. So yeah, I don't know. Somebody was in the lab cooking up, man. Another thing that we get into is another segment, which I think is my partner's favorite segment. I think it's his favorite. It might not be. I could be totally wrong, guys. But it is new business, right? We always talk about new business. We talk about maybe some new products that we acquired. We bring in some feedback on some products that you had seen before. I actually forgot. I don't think I mentioned this. And over here is one of many gun safes over here. I'm not going to go off camera and go grab it. But I acquired the O-Sight C from O-Sight, which is a big dot It is a green dot. I have it mounted to a Glock 34, which I'm sure you guys have seen it. It doesn't really get that light or attention. It's a very, very, very soft, very flat, very linear performing firearm. It's just super long. It's a 34, guys. But I did mount that optic onto the Osight C optic onto that gun. So I'm gonna check it out, try it out. If I'm getting, if I'm feeling the vibe of it, I might move it over to the staccato. I might. I'm very much a proponent. Where's your counterpart? He's actually the person that's with family this time. So he's out and about with his family. If you go check out his stories, he's showing you where he's at. He's up in the mountains. Something a little bit different than Florida. You know, Florida's pretty flat. We don't have mountains like that. But the scenery looks beautiful. So I'm really kind of jealous, but at the same time, I'm glad to be here with you guys. So that's where my partner in crime is. But back to the topic of what I was stating. As far as the Osight C goes, from Osight, I believe it is I don't have the box with me either. Dang, it's all over there. It's a nice optic, guys. And the price is pretty fair. I don't know if you guys have had some chance to run Osights on a regular basis. I'm very new. I'm very much a creature of comfort in the sense of tools, right? You don't want to be a creature of comfort in the sense of like your everyday life where you're not aspiring to be better. You can definitely be a creature of comfort when it comes to like your tools. For example, tier 1 holsters. I run tier 1 holsters all the time, right? You guys normally see on majority of the pistols I have, I run SROs. And we've already talked about this. What's up, No Chill? SROs are SROs, right? They're good, but there's other things that are out there that are pretty competitive. So yeah, the Osight thing, Osight optic, I'm really excited to check out. So I'll give you guys some feedback on that when I start running it more. It is not the one that has the sunlight on it. It's one that is battery tray operated. I prefer battery tray operated anyways. I do like the sunlight pieces, or the it has the ability to absorb the sunlight to operate as like a secondary. I should probably consider that, being that I don't really run backup irons. These are Tag Precision on here, but you see I don't have a rear. And I'm going to clear this for you guys. Getting off topic here, but it doesn't really co-witness at all. So it's just the glass, and the fiber optic is just there for fun. But yeah, back to what I was saying. Osight C, I'm going to check that out. I'll give you guys feedback on that. Another thing that I have acquired, which I might have stated last time, but I wasn't in the vicinity to be able to show you guys this. We got new MacBroz jersey, and I see all the ballers out there with the jerseys with the hoods on it. So I got myself a jersey with a hood on it. I'm not the type to rock a hood generally, so I'm gonna try it out. I actually have a slated range day I'm gonna hit up for a solo sesh tomorrow. So I'm gonna run the jersey just to get used to it. It is long sleeve, which is unique, or not unique, but you know, in the state of Florida, a long sleeve shirt, you're like, oh, that's kind of crazy. But it is SPF 60, I believe. It's stated here on the collar for you guys that don't have jerseys and you are curious, like when you see everybody online shooting competitions that have jerseys. The reason behind it is because it helps keep the sunlight off of you, and it also supports the sponsors. So for 2026, this is what I really wanted to show you guys. These are the sponsors for 2026 for the MacBroz show, which is Tier 1 Concealed, Tag Precision, Firearm Radio Network, MadScienceTactical, Artillery, Brownells, and Monsoon Tactical. These are all the folks that have supported us or are supporting us for the 2026 season via obviously products like holsters. You got Artillery does like paint jobs, Cerakote jobs. As you can see, this has a gloss hearts with a matte pink finish. And then tier one, not tier one, Monsoon Tactical. You guys know I run ports all the time. Literally every pistol I have is ported by Monsoon Tactical, and that's a lot of pistols. So you can see why they support our teams, and the Firearm Radio Network supports us as well. These are where you can find these streams, the MacBroz streams on the Firearm Radio Network. And then who else do we have? MadScienceTactical. They do the grip pin safety that you've seen on JW Staccato. I don't have that specific grip safety pin, but had I not had this one, which is an aftermarket, I would definitely be rocking that pin grip safety feature for the 2011s, because grip safeties are no bueno, in my opinion. External safeties are the jamio. And then, did I miss anybody? And then Brownells. You guys know we've been talking and rocking with Brownells for quite some time. I think we've been rocking with Brownells. At least I've been rocking with Brownells for going on 7 years now. So, yep, they're on the back as well. Did I miss anybody? Oh, and Tag Precision. We talked about that earlier. Tag Precision is on the front of the Staccato and almost all of JW's pistols. I have some Tag Precision sights on the Glock 34 as well, and it's running a black fiber. This one's a red fiber. So show some love and support to the shooting sponsors. I'm really enjoying this jersey. I'm excited to check it out tomorrow, and I'll come back with some feedback. Last new business I have for you guys is I have the M&P 4.25. You saw it in the FDE color. If you've been following me for a while, I have I have a 425 already that's ported. It's a performance center, the C with the factory M&P ports, and then layered on top of that was Monsoon Tactical Lucky 7's porting. I'm changing that whole platform. I'm changing the porting style completely. I'm going with the dime bag from Monsoon Tactical because I'm crazy and that's what I want to do. So I decided, instead of having what I have changed, I'm just going to start off and give the Monsoon team a entirely fresh upper so they can get the chamfering, the way they like it, allow for the gases to obviously leave the gun properly, so I'm not getting any buildup. So everything is done properly. So I like to give folks a clean slate when I want something done, and especially when I want something done correct. So that's the new business I have here. So we'll jump into, I'm sorry I went through that pretty quickly, guys. I really wanted to get to this portion of the show, which is our main topic, which is the reality of solo training. They help. I rock them on cruises. Nice. Yes. The jerseys. Nice. All right, let me get through the chat. I'm not used to actually being able to see my chat, guys, so this is really nice. So if you got any questions, definitely drop them as I'm talking. This is like stuff I'm talking about is what I have experienced on a personal level. Not so much of what I've heard from others. It's almost like trial and error. A lot of things that you guys see online, guys, is the aftermath or the effects of me reaching out to people that I highly respect and ask them questions and absorb what they do because I want to be a better shooter. What I know is that I don't get a lot of time to shoot. And for some, that might be interesting to hear because you're like, oh, well, I see you posting shooting stuff all the time. Well, I record a lot and I post it over time because I don't want to flood your feed with a post every single day. I want to space it out. So you're interested to want to come back, check us out, check out the MacBroz, check out JW, check out myself. But I record a lot. and I watch a lot of my recording so that I can either address any of the deficiencies that I am experiencing in the moment, or I experience in competition, or whatever the case is. So when we talk about the reality of solo training, solo is 90% of my training. Exactly, straight arrow. Yeah, just let me see. Yeah, just take what I see that works and what people are working on that I know what they're doing. Exactly. So the reality, and I want to, again, you guys hit me in the chat. This is my experience from the reality of solo training. You must go have a game plan, guys. Like, that is probably the number one thing when solo training. If you want to get better. If you don't want to get better, then this conversation is not for you. If you want to mag dump in the trash, do it. I'm a proponent in the mag dumping in the trash, but I'm also a proponent of spending money on ammo and not mag dumping in the trash. Not because I can't, because I don't have the time or the luxury to mag dump into trash and just be like, oh yeah, that's cool. You know what I mean? That's real cool. I always want to be able to hit something, in my opinion, whether it's a steel target, paper target, even if I'm dumping or checking out somebody's gun for the first time, I always want to put a target, a rock, a stick, a tree, whatever it is, and focus on hitting that apparatus, I guess, in the moment. So one piece of reality when training solo is to come with a game plan. I highly recommend you come with a game plan. That game plan can stem from something you did in competition that has made you lose sleep at night, and you're like, everybody's gonna see that score, man. They're gonna see where I made that mistake. You're looking at the video and you're like, man, I'm not gonna post that video on the internet. That was a crappy run. Well, that's the reality of training. That's the reality of solo training. You're not gonna have the best run every single time. You can have a good run. You can even have a great run, but the best run, those are far and few in between, because again, the reality of it is things change in the moment, right? Hands could be sweaty. It could be rainy. You know what I mean? Your dot could be giving you problems. Maybe when you deployed out your gun, you didn't get the best initial grip. So things happen, and that changes the variables in your engagement in the moment. So that's the reality of solo training. It's never perfect, especially if you're pushing yourself. Post it, own it. LOL. Yep. Yeah, post it, own it. Exactly. You're gonna see real-time feed from me, guys. You're gonna see mistakes from me. You're gonna see me miss shots. That's the nature of training. If I'm not missing, I'm not pushing myself, right? Because the reality again of training is I can slow fire and hit 100%. I can definitely do that. But when the shit hits the fan, am I going to be slow firing, or am I going to be trying to put as many rounds on target, right? That's the reality of it. So come in with the game plan, and then be true to yourself, right? Once you have identified what your game plan is, and I'm going to use myself for example. My last training session, solo training session, was a week, not last week, but the week before. I shot 550 rounds in that solo session. Of that time, what I focused on was I brought a single steel target because I'm lazy. I didn't want to bring 3-4 targets, paper targets, and then paste them up and then perform my whatever drill or standard or whatever the case is I wanted to do, and then walk to the front pace, and then restart, then shoot, see where I hit, walk to the front pace. So I have an AC zone steel target, in which I can only shoot in the location that I train at, which is Ruskin, aka Guncraft. You can shoot still 15 yards or further back if you're using a handgun. 15 yards and further back, you have to engage the still. So I did two things in that training. I wanted to shoot still because I was noticing in competition when it came to still target engagement, I was second guessing myself. Or in some aspects still wasn't falling, but you know that again, that's a variable. I can't replicate that unless I set the still not to fall in a certain event, you know. But I took that opportunity to say, you know what, this is the game plan. Shooting still, we're shooting at 15, we're starting cold at 15, and we're sending it. And then we're going to bump it back. We're going to go to 20, we're going to send it. We're going to go to 25, we're going to send it. Then I think that where I was at in the Bay, the deepest place you could do was 25. You can maybe push 30, but you're sitting under the pavilion at that point. So it was 25 was the max for me. Can't shoot fast, shooting slow. Yeah, that's right. That's right, educator. Oh, yeah, knees weak. Yeah, you can't get past your mistakes if you don't address them. Absolutely, like anything. If you can't see them, you can't address them. Slow is fast, fast is fast. Yep, shoot straight, keep your powder dry. Absolutely. I like that, car guy. Or, I'm sorry, carrot guy. So, once you identified your game plan, right? I identified my game plan. I needed to work on steel. From then, I said, all right, these are the drills I need to also work on, which was for me, was shuffling my feet to get into the next position for a target engagement. What I noticed is I was actually turning my hips, making my movement, turning my hips back towards the target and engaging the shot, which as you guys know, that's just time wasted. That's movement wasted. Why not, sidestep, right? The distance is short, sidestep over and deploy out or keep the gun ready to deploy out. As soon as I break whatever the cover is or wherever the pocket I needed to shoot at, I'm ready to go. I'm not moving my hips. My hips are already straight towards the target. All I'm doing is sidestepping quickly, right? Keeping my profile low, sidestepping aggressively to get into the next target, be ready to engage as soon as I'm in the pocket, I'm ready to shoot that target. So those are the two things I focus on during my solo training session. That's something I want to talk to you guys about too. When you are doing your solo training, and this is just my perspective, try to take a couple of things to focus on. If you do a solo session and you say, you know what, I want to work on this, I want to work on this, I want to work on this. If you don't have the time to do all of those things, then your ability to progress could be limited in the time that you have to really understand what it is you're trying to, the goal you're trying to complete, right? Or trying to address in the moment. So for me, there's a ton of things I like to do. You guys already know I love to build drill, man. I love to build drill. I love it. I had to tell myself, no. At 15 yards, because I brought the still target out, I eliminated the fact that I wanted to get closer. I couldn't do it because it's still target. So I had to stay at 15. And when I started out cold, I was like, man, I'm taking these 15-yard shots super slow. All right. Stop messing around, Darius. Let's start putting some speed on these splits. You identified, you know you got an open target, right? Yeah, it's an AC zone, depending on who you are, you could say it's small. Some folks say it's big. I think it's a perfect size, especially at 15 yards, and I'm blind, as you guys can see. I rock glasses. I noticed I was shooting slow. And I knew I was shooting slow, one, because I had a timer. So as you are solo training, if you are solo training, I would highly, highly recommend you get a shot timer, because thinking you're fast and actually being fast, you do not know without some kind of timing capability to say, Yeah, I kind of sandbagged that deployment, right? I came out at a 1.6, right? Hit my first still target at like a 1.92, you know what I mean? So when you do your solo session, you can set yourself on a baseline if you're comfortable with that. If you are understanding, like, I know when I sandbag and I know when I don't sandbag. For me, I've been shooting enough. I know when I'm sandbagging. I know when I'm making a mistake in the sense of, all right, hey, I didn't get the proper grip on that deployment, which caused all this other nonsense to occur, which was a domino effect, right? Improper grip. And because I'm rocking the staccato now, um, an improper grip could also, by default affect you here when engaging the safety. An improper grip, if you are still one of those hardcore dudes and you're rocking the grip safety, it could affect if you're on the 2011 game with your grip safety engagement, if you don't have a full grip. So there's a couple of aspects when running, like, especially with a 2011, with an extra step of engaging the safety. You have to be more cognizant. So going back to what we were saying, right? The ability to understand where you are by setting a baseline, which is part of your game plan. So you come in with your game plan. You know what your baseline is. If you don't know what your baseline is, in your game plan, when you shoot your first string of fire, set your baseline. And I would say too, on your first string of fire, depending on if you're doing a cold start drill, right? If you're not doing a cold start drill, you're just getting on the gas right out of the gate. Really push yourself. Set that baseline so that you're like, okay, maybe I came out too fast. I engaged a target. It's too fast. Shot 3 times. First shot hit, second shot missed. I needed to make it up because you're doing doubles on steel at 15, whatever the case is. So you dial it back a little bit, right? And you say, all right, let me slow this down. Let me take this shot. Let me run this back one more time. All right, this is my new baseline, right? First set baseline, you really cranked it up. Second set, you're like, man, I missed a lot. Let me dial it down. Let me see what that baseline is. Now you have a game plan. Now you have somewhere where you can start your training, right? So for that day, if you came out the gate at a 1.2 or a 1. We'll say a 1.1 from concealment, and that's fast for you, then any time, any speed in which you come out slower than that for the day, again, this is a reality check. This is the reality of solo training. You are sandbagging. You are making mistakes that you shouldn't be making because you set the baseline of a performing drill that this is where I'm at. Anything above that, then I'm making mistakes, right? So that's a couple of categories of solo training with the reality of it, right? We said you set your game plan, set your baseline, and then from then I would highly recommend you record yourself, especially on solo training sessions. If you're doing like long gun or something like that, maybe not if you don't want to, but if you're doing pistol performance training and you're solo, I would recommend you record yourself. 2 things about recording yourself is, one, you get to look back at it, right? You get to say, what did I do wrong here during this time, during this moment of time, or whatever the case is. 2, I like to record some of my sessions in slow motion. Slow motion highlights everything you do wrong. Absolutely everything. Where your trigger finger is, where your initial grip is when I run from concealment 99.9% of the time, if not almost 100% of the time. It'll show me where I place my hand. Gigabytes of disappointment. Yes, exactly. The slow motion recording really highlights a lot of information. It's I think it's one of the most underutilized tools, I think, um, in solo sessions for those that might be, they're shooting and they're like, I don't know what's going on. You know what I mean? I'm making these same mistakes. I'm not engaging the safety, or I've developed my grip and now my safety is down, but my thumb is underneath the safety on a 2011. So upon recoil, boop, safety goes on, slide locks, it doesn't cycle, you're pulling the trigger and you're jerking the gun, right? Slow motion can highlight that. It can show you where your hand placement is, especially if you get a good angle of where you want to capture your slow motion. Sometimes I like to capture the gun operating. Actually, a lot of times I like to capture the gun operating, because if I see it start to do one of these in my grip, I know that I'm not applying the proper fundamentals and the gun is rocking in my grip because either I didn't get up in the pocket or whatever the case is. So add that to your solo training, right? Because we're talking about the reality of it, which is highlighting the deficiencies in which you have noticed. And then the other piece of solo training, and I'm so happy that the guys have really motivated myself and JW to do competition shooting, because in the competition aspect, even if it's local, right? For me, I can only do local, guys. I have two kids that are in competitive sports and I'm trying to compete myself, so I can do local, and even that's pushing it. But in those local matches, when you make those mistakes, you can take those mistakes and say, all right, when I go to the range, this is what I'm going to work on, right? Maybe I need to move my eyes faster. Maybe I need to move the gun faster. Maybe I need to do X, Y, and Z. Maybe I'm not deploying the gun out properly, right? Or as efficiently as I could. Maybe there's too much movement. Maybe I get into a shooting position and I have to adjust my hips. Maybe I got into the shooting position and I had the wrong lead foot. I don't know. I'm just saying that, guys. For me, I don't really pay attention to where my feet placement is upon engaging, because competition forces your body to be in some very unique positions of engagement. So as long as your platform, your baseline is your fundamentals of, I don't know, your stable baseline for shooting is solid, then like left foot first, right foot first. To me, it doesn't matter. You see me shoot with my right foot front. You see me shoot with my left foot front. You see me shoot laying on the ground. You see me shoot on one knee. You see me, you know what I mean? So that's just an aspect of the training. But going back to the competition side of it, take the mistakes you're making in competition, use that as your game plan, right? Take your game plan, set your baseline when you're performing. Once you set your baseline, then you execute that drill, whatever the drill is you need to do. And I said for you guys this weekend, I needed to work on engagement on steel, confirmation engagement on steel for me, especially at 15 yards, 20 yards, 25 yards. And then shooting and moving and hitting steel on the move. I also worked on that. Again, 15 yards. I was doing engagements of 20 yards, progressing forward on an angle. So I did almost like an X, one leg of an X. 20 to 15 yards moving forward, keeping my profile tight, making sure that I'm not adding an extra unnecessary bounce, especially because you're pushing a pistol out. Trying to engage, 6 rounds at a time. In the location that I'm at, I'm not allowed to build drill, so I have to shoot slow. But still, in that same capacity, you can still perform in the constraints that you have presented to you. That's the time for total eye contact with the camera. Yes. Someone just catches you jerking it for sure. Yes. That's funny. Video definitely can help you identify something you're doing that you can't perceive when performing the action. Absolutely, citizen defense. Absolutely. I encourage you guys, especially when you are solo training, to record yourself, because when you're training with your boys, depending on who your boys are, right? I'm trying to be super nice. You could be training with some morons, or you could be training with your boys who don't know what to look for when you're performing, or they don't help you because they're not paying attention, right? When I'm shooting with the homies, I might not be looking at the target. I'm looking at them. I'm watching what they're doing because I need to understand, you know what I mean? Like if they need some feedback or if I need some feedback, I can watch the shooter and that can tell me a lot before I even look at the target. So then when somebody asks me a question, I could be like, oh yeah, you're this, and this, you know what I mean? And then when I look over at the target and what you identified were the problems, and the target is, it tells you the truth because you see the problem occur on the target. So if you're if you're on a solo session, again, this is the reality of solo training. You don't have that homie or that partner or that group of guys you're running with, group of guys, group of girls, it doesn't matter. You're running with to say, hey man, I'm gonna run this drill real quick. You tell me what's up. Like, tell me what I'm doing. What do you see? You can't do that when you're solo. So recording yourself, your phone is your partner essentially, because you can look back at it and then you have to self-diagnose, which is another portion of the reality of solo training. I think that a lot of times what I've seen with folks that go to the range by themselves, they tend to have a hard time self-identifying or critiquing what needs to change when they are doing the solo training, right? So a prime example would be I go to the range, right? Say I have somewhat of a loose leaf game plan. Like tomorrow, I know what I'm working on. I'm rolling with a friend. We're going to be working on some close stuff. We're going to be doing some doubles, some hard transitions, some quick transitions. Hard transitions are like way over to the right, way over to the left. Closer transitions where the transition targets, you kind of see them in an array of closeness or whatever the case is. And then we'll probably throw some steel in there. But what I see with folks on solo sessions, even when they do record, they're not able to critique themselves in a way that they're like, I don't know what I did. I see what I did. I did something wrong, but I don't know how to fix it, right? There are a ton of people, and I'm sharing this with you, there are a ton of people on social media that I know, especially trusted shooters, where you can ping them and ask them, like, say, hey, can you take a look at this for me real quick? Tell me, do you see anything off? And a lot of times those guys will give you some feedback. So don't be shy on that aspect, man. The 2A community is pretty large, and for the most part, they're pretty helpful, especially if you are reaching out to people that you trust. So that's what I wanted to tell you is, yes, there's trainers out there that can train you if you wanted to do solo sessions, like a one-on-one with the trainer, right? You can do that. If you're going out to the range and you're doing solo sessions and you record yourself and you're making mistakes and you're trying to identify what is the mistake, there are people that will help you. I don't know if they're going to charge you, but like myself, I've helped people countless times, man. Countless times. I'm just like, send me a recording. Set your part time to this if you have a shot timer, or I record my shot timer. I tell them to play the video so they can use my shot timer to then perform their drill if they don't have a shot timer. So those are the different things that are available to you guys if you are solo training and you're trying to improve on yourself, but you're making the same mistakes and you don't know what it is. there's many ways, man, to improve on those. I've learned a lot from solo training. It tells me how much I love the game and what I'm willing to do to improve. Absolutely, straight arrow. Absolutely. It's similar to the gym. Do you skip due to not having baddies to go with you, or do you cowboy up out in the time? Yes, cowboy up and out in the time anyway. Yeah, I when I was first getting into shooting, I'll just give you some historical here. I really wanted, actually, when I was first into shooting, I was very heavy on solo. Very heavy on solo, man. I would just go to the range, wasn't recording, go to the range, shoot, 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 shoot. Don't know if I was doing well. I was just learning the gun, right? Just YouTube University, Instagram University, and just saying, all right, well, I'm doing this wrong. For example, um, I use the reflection of my body in a mirror when I'm deploying a gun out to say whether I'm deploying the gun out effectively or not. Just using a mirror, recording myself, the phone is facing the mirror, or I'm looking at the mirror and going off of those different things. So those are a couple of things for the reality of solo training. And I have one more thing that I would say to do. When you are training, if you are setting your baseline, you're setting your game plan, I recommend mixing up, obviously, precision and speed. Far too often, I see folks work on keyholing this size group, slow fire, and like they go to competition and fall the fuck apart. Like it, you gotta run the gun, man. You gotta run the trigger. That's why I like the build drill aspect, especially for indoors. Now going to, sorry, I went on a tangent there, but going back to the reality of some solo training is sometimes you don't have the ability to shoot and move, right? Maybe you're in a space where you don't have the ability to deploy out from concealment. So again, going back to the reality of solo training, those are things you are going to have to train. Those are the things you're going to have to do off the books. You're going to have to practice the reps from deployment. If you want to be a moron like me and change guns every 6 months, I highly, highly, I do not recommend doing that. But if you want to, you're going to have to get those reps. You're going to have to do extra work. If you're relearning, I went from striker fire my whole life to this, right? To external safeties and grip safeties and all that jazz. You're going to have to put in that extra time, guys, on the solo training for the reality of it. It's very true to me that when I invite friends out and we shoot, right? Again, I told you guys, I go to the range. I've been fortunate. This past month, I've been able to go 2 times, which is very wild for me. I generally go to the range once every 2 months, literally once every 2 months. You got to dry fire if you're doing that, man. Because if I wasn't, when I do go to the range, I would be getting cooked. And I do get cooked on some capacity, but I would be way, 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 way far behind. You got to do that stuff, guys. Like, if you are wanting to improve, you're going to have to do the stuff that's not comfortable. Shooting and moving, shooting on the move, some folks aren't comfortable. Like, that was something, again, this past 2 weekends. That was another thing that I needed to work on, was engaging still at 15 yards while moving out of the pocket, right? Backpedaling on an angle, engaging the steel, getting to the next zone to shoot. Or I'm advancing towards the target, I'm engaging the steel, double tapping, triple tapping, whatever the case is, and then preparing to engage from another shooting position. It's you just you gotta you gotta do the work. That's what that's what it comes down to. Yeah, teaching classes aloud is great because I find myself at the range more and more. After my classes, I get to take some time to just train. Yeah, that's really cool, man. That is absolutely good way to get in those reps and get in that time. Yeah, so those are I've talked to you guys for 30 minutes now about the reality of training. I'll go quickly on a recap here is one, you got to have a game plan unless you just want to shoot in the dirt and waste ammo forever. And if you're the person who just wants to shoot and not get better, you just want to say, yeah, this is cool. I got a ported $6,000 staccato that I shoot into fucking trash. I have horrible mechanics when it comes to moving and shooting. I can't shoot a target on the move. So like, you know what I mean? You got to be real with yourself because that's the reality of it. If you want to get better, these are the things you have to do. You got to set a game plan. If you don't want to get better, don't set a game plan. That's step number one. Step number two, once you have your game plan and you're in the zone, set your baseline, right? Your baseline for the day, especially for you guys who are new shooters and you're solo shooting. You don't have a group of guys around you in your area locally or whatever the case is, right? Set your baseline. Your baseline should stay the same. When you start improving, your baseline will start to improve as well, right? Say you're deploying out sub-second, you're getting shots consistently at sub-second, depending on the distance in which you're engaging a target. Sub-second draw at 20, sub-second draw, first shot at a target that's 25 yards away. Like, cool. Is that consistent? Some people can do it. Some really good people, I'm going to say majority of us can't fucking do that. We can't do sub-second draws 6 times in a row, right? If you can, great. If you can't, I can't. I know a ton of people that can't do that. But if that's your new baseline, then that's your baseline for the rest of the day. That could be your baseline for your current like career for the season or whatever the case is. The next thing is recording. If you're solo, I highly encourage you to record. Record yourself in normal speed, record yourself in slow-mo. I highly recommend you record yourself because you can shoot a shit ton of ammo in the day and then go shoot a competition and fall the fuck apart and be like, what I shot 400 rounds. What happened? Well, what happened was you didn't record yourself to see what you were doing wrong the whole time, and you just took what you were doing wrong, put it in the competition, and now you're doing it wrong. So record yourself. That's what I'm going to say as far as reality goes on solo sessions. And then mix it up. I think, I know this is solo training. I think the solo training aspect takes you into the competition if you decide to do the competition shooting side of it. Competition only amplifies any deficiencies that you have that you might not have noticed when you were solo session training. And those amplification of, I don't even know if that's a word. If that's a word, I don't know if amplification is a word, but it is now. If you have those kinds of deficiencies in the competition aspect, you need to make note of that. And that's when you take that back to your solo training session and you work on it. So throw that into your solo training session as your 4 things I highly recommend you do. So let me get into these, the posts here, the comments. No shortcuts. Work has to be done. Absolutely straight arrow. I applaud that. Simple Carry has stated, yep, training classes allows him to, is great because he can find himself at the range more and more. After the classes, he gets solo time to train. I love that. Game plan, Queen of Ivor, game plan, recording to rewatch, slow-mo, find mistakes. Yes, slow-mo and find mistakes. If you can't find the mistakes or you're having a hard time identifying the mistakes, I threw a little, what would we call that? Is that a teaser? No, addendum. We'll say it's a little addendum, right? Um, Reach out to somebody that you trust, that you respect in the shooting space, the 2A space. Share that, ask them, hey, I'm making some mistakes. I don't know what I'm doing. Can you take a look at this video? Check it out. Let me know what you see, and then give me some feedback. Pfft, done, man. Most people will give you feedback. Hell, you could send that video to a couple of people, maybe get a little bit different feedback, maybe get all the same feedback. If you get all the same feedback, then you know this is what I need to focus on. If you get a little bit of different variables in the feedback, then that means that those folks that are looking at it, they're seeing slightly different things, which again goes back to help you. So honestly though, let's see what Simple Carry said. Honestly though, do you ever get stuck when it comes to training? Like, you don't know what to train. Does that make sense? Absolutely. That's why I go with the game plan. And then what I'll do is, if I'm doing a drill, I'll modify the drill. I'll say, all right, cool. I just did, like, there was one of the drills that I did, which was a double tap at 20. Was it double tap? I'm sorry. Single shot 25, double tap at 20, double tap at 15. It was basically a triangle with an eye to it. Flash over to the right, double tap on 15 again, come back, double tap on 20, come back, single tap on 25. All right. So that was the initial baseline drill. I didn't have like a dead set time on that. I couldn't really do hit factor because it was a AC zone steel plate. So it was just, as long as I hit my doubles, then I can move on to the next. I said, cool. Each position was a stop position shooting engagement. The next time I ran that drill, I said, can't stop moving my feet. Boop, off the buzzer, single at 25, boom, hit it. As I'm working my way into the 20-yard, double taps as my feet are moving. As soon as I hear ding, ding, I flash over to the left. As soon as I hit the corner pocket, I'm pushing out, ding, ding, I'm hitting that. As I'm coming out of the corner, I'm still moving my feet, but I'm gathering myself to say, all right, I'm moving to the right, but my still target is here. I need to adjust my hips towards the target as I hit this pocket. So I hit the pocket, hard pivot, pushed out. I'm shooting, but I'm retreating because I need to come back to the 20. So single tap, because I needed to focus. Again, adrenaline is up. I just ran the drill the first time. I don't normally give myself a break. I just run the drill again. As I'm backpedaling, as I'm making my way back to the 20, I'm backpedaling, right? Double tap at 20, backpedaling at the AC zone, and back to the 25, single tap as I come to my stop. So just take your drill, modify it ever so slightly. If you don't want to come out with an entirely different drill, again, I told you guys I'm lazy. Like, that's why I came out with a single still target, and I said, these are all the crazy drills I'm going to do. I'm going to hit this thing doing 20 yards, going at an angle on the right. I'm going to go on an angle on the left. I'm going to go flat, right, parallel. Is that parallel? Perpendicular? Parallel, perpendicular. I don't know. Flat, right? I'm going to shoot it on the move. I'm going to shoot it stationary. I'm going to shoot it here. I'm going to take a knee in the center. I'm going to, pop back up, engage 2 shots. I'm going to sidestep over to the right. It's the same engagement of shooting. I'm just doing a different variable on each stopping point, which then turns one focal point of a drill, which was a single target at 15 yards, an AC zone steel at 15 yards. But now I've created 10 different drills in the same drill format. That's how I prevent myself from getting stuck. I'll take one setup of a drill and I just modify it. Maybe I need to do reloads. When I hit one of the corners, that's a mandatory reload. If I hit the next corner, it's a mandatory reload. Same drill, same direction, either shooting or moving. Maybe I'm coming to a hard stop. Whatever the case is, change it up. That's why I like running box drills, which you have a cone on each corner. It's a quadrant, so it looks like this. Each of the corners, you can do a different kind of engagement. Or if you're in the box itself, you can do different kinds of movements. Dry fire to live fire to see improvement. Absolutely. Sorry, Queen, didn't see you were there. Some of my comments would have been different. I just got in. I'm all good, my friend. Quality over quantity. Absolutely. Quality over quantity. And I'm guessing you're talking about the amount of ammo shot, right? I know for me, when I do solo sessions, I shoot a shit ton of ammo because I'm solo. So I'm not stopping. I'm not talking. I literally run the drill. If I need to top off, I top off. I pocket carry like two mags in my back pocket. I'll have, because I'm running concealed in a tier 1 holster. Um, Shameless plug, Access Elite tier 1 holster is what I rock. I do have an APX tier 1 holster over here. I just don't use it. But hey, that's what happens when you get tier 1 holsters. But yeah, I will reload, run the drill, reload, run the drill, and then when I run out of ammo, I'll go and I reload everything back up real quickly, and I go back out there. As I'm reloading, I'm thinking about what's the next drill we're gonna do. I don't like to run drills more than 2 times. So if I'm running a drill, I'm pushing myself the first time. And then the second time, I'm like, okay, I made some mistakes. I'm cleaning up the mistakes in the second run. That's how I operate. I don't know if for those guys that have rocked with us for the squad drills, boys, that's like an unwritten rule that we have. We only run the drill twice. You could talk to Gamage, you could talk to Jay, you could talk to Fireman, Straight Arrow. They'll all tell you, yeah, these guys don't run the same drill 6 times. They do it one time. You got one time to make mistakes. The second time you clean it up, you better run a clean run. Otherwise, the boys are going to talk shit to you. What else do we have here? Have some staple drills that you can always fall back on. Keep a list. Yeah, I do like that. I don't normally do a staple drill. I think if I like some of the cold start standards that people have, like the Bear Solutions drill, where it's you're walking forward, you're engage 4, do a reload, hit 2 in the center of the paper target. I don't really have like a standard performance. What I do have, and it is 10 o'clock, 10:02, so we can wind this down because I like to get you guys out of here, and I do appreciate you guys listening to me. What I do have is I do a cooldown drill, and I got the cooldown drill from Gamage, who got it from somebody else, which is, it's a playing card drill. I forget what the name he calls it. But anyways, we have an adhesive, or you can use a staple gun. You put playing cards facing towards, you see the face of the playing card. You put it on a target, right? And then if you have a partner, I think we do 5-yard engagement. These are my cooldown. This is a cooldown drill. This is probably the only cooldown drill that is consistent through most of my training that I do on solo days. It's a precision drill. It's precision and speed. Yeah, I would say it's precision and speed. So on the buzzer, depending on the face card, my partner, whoever's running the buzzer, will tell me what card to engage right before he hits the buzzer. So they'll say, like, I don't know, seven of hearts, right? I think if it's over, I can't remember what the specifics are. I think it's if it's over the number 5, is it? 5, maybe? Then you shoot that number, I believe. So if it's 5 or higher, then you shoot a 2, reload 2. If it's 5 or if it's 4 and under, then you shoot that many rounds. So if it's face card is 2, you shoot 2, right? 2 of spades on the buzzer, beep, you shoot your 2 at 5 yards as fast as possible. If it's above the 7, I think that's what it is. That's how I've been running it. But yeah, that's how I work on speed and precision at the end on the cooldown. Let's see here. Do whatever sucks. Yeah, 1 hot this time. Yes. Yep. Yeah, I normally set up 2 steel, 2 paper. Yeah, I like the 2 steel, 2 paper. Again, if I'm lazy, I'll just throw up the steel so I don't have to keep going down there to patch up. The paper does definitely keep you accurate. The steel keeps you fast, right? You can shoot the fast splits on the steel targets. You get audible feedback immediately. The paper as well. Your dot tracking a little bit more, I think. When I start thinking about it, when I'm shooting still, I am dot tracking, but I get a little more lax on the dot tracking when it comes to still because um, I'm just putting the dot on the still and I'm pressing the trigger back, make sure it's clean break going straight back so I can hit the still target. When it comes to the paper, I'm trying to get an A zone, obviously, if it's USPSA, trying to get those numbers. If it's our local US CCL, then I have the A zone and the C zone to play with. So training with the A zone and C zone still is actually a benefit to me because if I miss, then I'm getting points. If I don't, then I'm doing the right thing. So yeah. Uh, what else we got? What up, homies? What's up, Maine? Uh, do you rep different firearm setups at the range during solo, or do you stick with one? Simply carry. That is a beautiful question. I bring two guns. Um, I have been rocking my M&P. I have the M&P 4-inch and the M&P 425. I've been playing around with the grips using either the compact grip or the full-size grip. Ever since running the Staccato, though, because it's the Staccato C with a full-size grip, it's the 17 rounder. It's a lot more grip. And when I transition to the compact M&P, I feel like my hand is crunched up in there. It's so weird. So I've been using the longer M&P, the full size, and it feels a little more natural, which I don't know. It's all mindset. But I stick to one gun unless something catastrophic happens in the solo training session. Again, for me, specifically me, I don't get a lot of training time. So when I do live fire, I need to run the gun that I've been dry firing for, the months in between the actually live fire. So I normally stick to one gun. I've been on the Staccato C train. I've been kicking around the idea of switching back to the M&P. I'm starting to get really proficient with this gun, like really proficient. I plan on running tomorrow a little more on the defensive side. I've been doing a lot more competition engagement where it's like, engagement of targets, we'll say 2 yards and further back. So tomorrow I'm going to do a little more defensive shooting, which is going to be more from the hip, a little more. And that aspect is fighting distance, close quarter fighting distance. I need to see what this is going to do because, in the competition world, I got all day to hit that safety. But if I have a dude that's like 2 feet in front of me, am I going to be able to perform the same that I can do with the striker fire? We'll find out tomorrow. So I stick to one firearm. I do bring a second as a backup. Great question. I do dry fire on COD. I do dry fire on Call of Duty too. Actually, I don't play Call of Duty. Call of Duty is garbage. I play Battlefield. But I guess if you don't ever do the same drill more than twice, you wouldn't. Yeah, I don't like to do the drill more than twice because I don't like to game the drill because you can definitely game a drill. It helps me stay on my feet. So I'm able to adapt faster for me by not doing the drill the same drill more than twice. Now, if there's a mulligan, like something weird happened in the middle of the drill, then me and the homies will play it by ear and we're like, nah, bro, or we'll motivate each other, bro, you got one more, run that run. You were right there on the cuffs of like setting your standard, right? So sometimes if the energy and the vibe is right, especially with the bros or the ladies, whoever we're rocking with, and they're like, yo, you got one more, bro. I think you got one more. You could pull off that whatever baseline you're trying to beat. Then we'll run it one more time. So we'll do that. The one outdoor here has some steel at 25 yards. Can't bring your own, and you're shooting from a port. Oh, okay. Yeah. Again, the reality of solo training, you are limited to the rules of the range, right? So the stuff that you see me and some of the other guys get to do in the outdoor range here, you might not be able to do there, but you can modify the drill, right, to be able to get away with something. Maybe you have to put the pistol on the table. Maybe it's loaded. Maybe it's unloaded. You pick it up on the beat, on the buzzer, right? You're doing unloaded drills off the table. Boom, beep, grab the gun, load it, chamber it, take your engagement. If you got the 25-yard still, that'd be a good baseline to set. Like, how quick can I do an unloaded 25-yard engagement? You know, there's the way to do it. Bring your shot timer, run it, see what it looks like, record it, show us, man. Post it. Yeah, finding you a place a little more drill worthy. Yep. Yeah, you can't go back to 15 round M&P after rocking it. No, you still can't. You can't. You're like, where's my extra 3 rounds at? Like, why did I come up short on this one? Yeah, and actually what's funny is that has affected me in some of my one of my training and also in competition, where I'm like, damn, I ran out of ammo real quick. Like, I should have 3 more rounds. I should be able to sweep this side of the field, you know? Yep. Platform ecosystems are important to shooting various types. Yes, completely agree, Straight Arrow. Again, I'm going over time, guys. I want to answer some of these questions. Platform ecosystem. That is another reality check when it comes to solo training. If you don't get to shoot as often as like some of the other folks, right? I am currently, I would say I'm in the space of platform agnostic, right? I can float from this to the M&P to maybe the Glock. I shot my Glock, guys. I'm gonna let you guys know. I felt extremely proficient with my Glock 19 back in the day. Man, I had to shoot that Glock 19 because my staccato went down. I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, what is all this unnecessary recoil? Yeah, it cooked me, guys. So it's like riding a bike, right? Could I be proficient with it? Yeah, I could shoot it, but did I want to prefer it? And I wasn't feeling it, but I ran it. But yeah, sticking to the same ecosystem is I would say it's a little important, you know what I mean? If you're doing all the dry fire, it might not be as important, but sticking with a similar ecosystem definitely helps progress your skill level faster. I asked the questions. Is my boy in here, my Glock Fast? I know I saw him coming on the call. I sent him a message earlier today. You guys saw me posting my story. Like, I've been trying to fight myself from going back to the M&P after watching a couple of videos, and you know, watching yourself perform with the gun and then switching over to a different platform. Are you really giving it the time, the space? Are you doing the dry fire? Are you doing all the necessary things to say, yeah, this performs well, but you know what I mean? So I definitely think sticking with the ecosystem that you're familiar with and maybe getting a bigger version of it or a smaller version of it, depending on which aspect of the spectrum you're on. You could have a, you know, we'll say Walther, because I know Straight Arrow rocks the Walther games. You could have a bigger Walther, the 5-inch, right? All steel frame, you're running that in competitions. And then when you're daily carry, you could have the 3.6 polymer frame, or you could have the 4-inch polymer frame, right, to lighten the load on the hip or however you're carrying it. So you're still in the same ecosystem, so the fundamentals are going to still be the same. So your reality of your solo training sessions should cross over much easier than jumping from a 2011 into, you know, a striker fire like M&P or a Walther or a Glock or whatever striker fire is you're comfortable with. So yeah, I definitely support that one, Straight Arrow, with consistent ecosystem. Easy here when everything is newer to 10. What do you mean you don't have to train with the staccato, LO? You ought to have to shoot better. You know, this girl will, you got to put in the work with the 2011s, man, with the staccato. I think you got to put in the work with the 2011s. This, I'm trying to stay in our category of solo session and not get on a tangent here. The amount of stuff that I've done to this gun, I make a joke. This is essentially a striker fire in my pea-sized brain, because what I've done to it, one, the trigger's super soft, which is a 2011, you can get them super soft, but it's this. This safety lever, as you can see, guys, I've shown you this close up. It's an Atlas thumb safety. It doesn't go all the way down. So it doesn't, and you can see the little notch cut out here. That's where the factory one goes. You see my grip is there where the factory one goes. I hated this gun with a factory thumb safety because I couldn't get my Glock or M&P high ass grip because of the thumb safety. Well, now I have an Atlas thumb safety. It doesn't get in the way because it fits under the pocket. So this is fully engaged, and now I have Glock grip on a 2011, y'all. That's the awesomeness of a Atlas thumb safety. So sorry that's a tangent, but yeah, definitely got to put in that work, man, with those 2011s. What do you mean you don't have to train? Yeah, man. Some people are in locations where they can't do a lot of the things that they see all the people on IG do. So you got to modify your drill. What else we got going? Influencers. Oh man. All right, I need a shot timer. Yes. Maven Garage, you need a shot timer. That is, put that in your reality, right? Solo sessions, reality, shot timer, dry fire, shot timer, dry fire, shot timer, dry fire, shot timer, live fire, shot time, live fire, shot timer, live fire. Put it in your repertoire there. I feel like you influencers make folks worse trying to copy y'all spicy build drills, but I swear half of them can't manage to reload without staring at the gun all day. Hey, man. Build drills for me, I love them, dude. It gives me, build drills are some, yes, you had stated you come in with the baseline drill. Build drill for me is my baseline drill. It tells me so much about a gun so fast, whether I'm being crappy on the grip or my support hand is not doing its job. I'm not applying enough pinky pressure right down here. If I don't have the webbing in the proper place for the firearm, it gives me so much feedback so quickly. And it also gives me red dot feedback. Build drills give me red dot feedback. It shows me what the red dot is doing at speed. So when I'm running doubles, it's easy because I've already been mag dumping 10 rounds at a time. And I'm like, yeah, at 10 rounds, if I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, is the red dot's going to get rowdy. At doubles, the red dot's not doing shit because it's only 2 shots. So, all right. Don't fear the man that has a bunch of guns. Fear the man that masters just one, or what they tell me. Yeah, absolutely. Full metal sensei. I respect that. Oh, there goes the neighborhood. Yeah, wow. I guess my opinion isn't wanted this live out to see myself out. No, yeah. Focus on one gun, guys, especially for the reality of a solo training. You'll see on Instagram, you'll see on social media, dudes running multiple guns. Ask any of those guys, right? You guys even know PewView. He slays with every gun that he rocks. But if you talk to him, he has a specific gun that he EDCs. I'm like, that, that's his go-to bread and butter. A lot of people do that. They show a lot of guns online, but they have a go-to gun. I'm hoping that this is the go-to gun for me. I'm still working it out. I give each gun 6 months at a time, where I will not pick up another gun for 6 months. If I do, it'll just be like 1, 2 couple of shots here and there, but I dedicate dry fire all my time to one single gun. So I have 2 more months left on this Staccato C until I make a decision whether I'm going to go back to the M&P or not. So far, so good. But yeah, stick to one platform if you're really trying to progress your skill set quickly. No, I'm going back to the MP and Glock. Stick with Walker. Yep, pretty sure can. Yeah, fully on the user Ace. Yep, Ace is a cool tool to use as well. I still think that incorporating a shot timer in with the Ace system solution, and also shot timer in on your live fire. At least setting those baselines again for performance evaluation on self evaluation. You got to do that stuff. So, all right. Well, those are all the statements and the questions for today. I went over time by 19 minutes. I did start a little bit later, so maybe I went over time by 15 minutes. I just wanted to say thank you guys for enjoying the show, where we talked about the reality of training, what do we need to do? We need to come with a game plan, right? Once you have your game plan, you set your baseline when you get in there, right? And on that baseline, that's where you execute moving forward for the rest of that day or for the rest of your time. Where if you set a fast time, you're like, yeah, this is where I need to be every single time. Then when we said we record ourselves, right? Record yourself in real time, record yourself in slow-mo. And if you need feedback, if you can't figure out what you're doing wrong, you can find a trusted source on social media, hit them up, maybe ask them, hey, can you take a look at the video? They can help you out. Then you can get back on the range, get back progressing and growing internally. And then the last thing we said, well, a couple of things we said in between there, right? Use a single ecosystem if you really, really want to progress. Jumping from gun to gun will, in some aspects, can slow you down because you're thinking about the gun and not the performance aspect of you shooting the gun. So that could slow you down in some capacity. And yeah, competition amplifies any existing deficiencies that you have. So I highly support and recommend those. If you have any local competitions, even if it's still shoot competitions where you're standing still and you're just shooting an array of still targets, run them. Set your new baseline to that, to say, hey, this is what I need to work on. So use the competition to help improve on your solo sessions, because that's growth in itself. And that's all I have, guys. Thank you for hanging out with the MacBroz for tonight. And go subscribe. You guys know you can go to JW's YouTube page that he has there. You can listen to us on the Firearm Radio Network, Spotify, and all your other streaming services. I'll be at the range tomorrow, so I'll be slaying some more with the staccato. So far, we're going on 900 rounds uncleaned. It's still a butter smooth. I just slap lube in there and I keep rocking and rolling. And I'm shooting trash ammo, y'all. I'm running Monarch, NATO, black powder, 124 grain. I'm going to shoot that staccato stuff. Maybe tomorrow I'll shoot the staccato stuff where you guys are interested. I know that my boy in here sent it to me. Brizzy's still in here. Full Metal Sensei sent me some staccato ammo, premium. So we'll see you guys. Have a good night, and thanks for hanging out with me, and we'll see you next week.
What do we got? We got ammo and ammo and ammo and ammo and ammo and ammo. What do we got? We got ammo and ammo and ammo and ammo and ammo and ammo. What do we got? Bing bang, this a two-man operation. They gon' run out of targets and start a chariot operation, but no sweat, they gonna sell it and keep on with operation. If you wanna listen to them, let me show you where to find them. Darius and Josh got a podcast for you to find. When you listen, you can tell them I'm the one that had to guide them. Tell them Bing sent you, he's the one that had to guide you. Woo! What do we got? We got ammo and ammo and ammo and ammo and ammo and ammo. What do we got?